Hi, my name's Charles Lambert,
And I'm Ronan Daly.
and we have been restoring Kilglass House in the Midlands in Longford it's just coming up to 7 years now.
And we've managed to get 3 grants, which has enabled us to do the roof, the steps up to the main door, and the lime plastering.
And we will tell you a little bit more about those in detail.
We came here, this was didn't exist. It had all been taken away at an earlier date, but some of the original steps were here, but in a different configuration. So we applied for a grant to put back the steps, just the granite steps. We paid for the substructure of it, but what we had to do was use as much of the original step as possible. So if you come and have a look, you'll see that this is why it's such a patchwork, is because we've used as many of the old steps as we can and just infilled with new to try and match it up. Now, all the way through this process, Mairead, the heritage officer, came and had a look at the stone to see if it would match. Just held our hand all the way through the process of actually it going in, and so did Nick Sweeney, because Nick Sweeney came in, measured it all up. So all the stonemason had to do was just cut to his specific requirements, and here you have it. So the grant we got was I believe the Built Heritage grant, which was to the horse is agreeing with me. So where was I? So the Built Heritage grant, which is to protect Ireland's historic structures, no matter how grand or how small. This is all part of its island's built heritage. So we got 50% to get these stones in place. We also got a grant for the roof, which was a buildings at risk grant. This was quite a substantial grant, which has enabled us to do the roof. So when we first got here, the survey said that our roof was fine, and we didn't think we had to worry about the roof, but there was holes coming, was slipping. What we found out was something called nail fatigue. So the nails were over 200 years old and had rusted, and when making the roof slates slip. So we applied for a grant. We got it, and which enabled us to do the roof. The contractor was told to save as many slates as possible, and the original ridge tiles. So with the saving of the slates, we then had to go and match a new slate to the old slate, so the whole thing would look harmonious. It was agreed, so a slate. So what we have is the original slates went on the sides and the back of the house, and the new went on the front of the house. And it was decided that we had enough to do the back and the sides, and the new was to go on the front because it gets most of the weather.
There were several types of grant available when we started off, and to be honest, from somebody who's applying, the best way is to get a really good architect to do that on your behalf, because I don't think we really understood totally the difference between the structures at risk or the other heritage grants. But we've been really lucky in this process, both to get a really good architect through recommendations, and then that architect gave us great builders and contractors. I wouldn't have. I kind of disputed with Ronan that we should spend the money on the lime plaster around the house, because there were so many problems along the way that hadn't been foreseen, that the house was covered in concrete, and that was holding in water, and it was covered in concrete, the walls both on the outside and on the inside on the ground floor. So I hoped that if we just chipped that off and maybe pointed the stonework. But what the heritage officer explained, and also the architect, is that it's really important to follow the traditional way, and the building was meant to have the lime plaster, because even though it looks as on the outside as if there was a wall of stone, there were in fact two walls of stone on the outside and the inside, and between those walls is just kind of rubbish and rubble to make the walls kind of warmer, but also that works in tandem with the lime plaster. So the lime plaster is needed to suck the moisture out of that central cavity of rubble during the summer. So that's why it's really important to follow the kind of historical and heritage path. So that's what we did. And that is another area where we got the grant to reinstate the house as it was, exactly as it was 200 years ago. And hopefully it'll now be set for another 200 years.